Welcome back. It's a Money Monday on Liquid Lunch on Newsmax TV. I'm John Tobacco. We're coming live every day from noon to 2 Eastern. If you weren't here from noon, you missed a lot. And it's almost 2, so there's only a little bit more, but you tuned in for the best part. Because when we want to dial in to what's happening in the millennial community, when we want to know what's happening all around the world, we bring in our favorite millennial, Pavlina Osta, who's the host of, yes, If God Had a Podcast, she'd be the host of it, and she is. Hello.
Yes. Hi, John.
How are you?
Good.
So first and foremost, we talked about this in the past on another episode, but you're still keeping, the beat on the street on the protests in Lebanon. What's the latest?
Yeah, so I'm Lebanese, that's why I'm so interested in this, and it's just like a fascinating thing that's going on over there. So we're going on to week 2 of all of the protests that are going on in Lebanon. It first started with attacks on the WhatsApp app. They were charging $6 a month. They quickly overturned that, but then the people were like, it's a very corrupt government. We need to overturn everything. So now they're currently blocking the streets. They are, they're just going on full protest mode, John. They have the prime minister resigned on Tuesday, and now they're calling for the president to resign as well.
Fantastic. So we're bringing you not only the local news, not only the nationwide news, but global news.
Yes.
And what is your family? You have family that's in Lebanon. What are they saying? What's the climate there?
Are they out there protesting?
It's actually crazy. So my brother just went over to Lebanon, and they're in the mountains. They're in like Zahli area, so it's pretty chill over there. I don't think he's protesting. My brother's a very chill guy, so kind of doubt it. But my dad and my uncle are also heading over there, so they might protest. I can see that happening.
How is what we're seeing now in Lebanon and elsewhere where there are protests different from what we saw 10 years ago with the Arab Spring?
So it's different because there's actually change going on, I think, with this. And they want a complete overhaul of the government. Like they are just, they're calling for everyone to resign.
Boy, they love their WhatsApp out there.
Yeah,
huh?
they really do. Well, that's how I talk to all my. Yeah.
I like the WhatsApp.
WhatsApp, it's good.
Nice.
It's a free app. You shouldn't
What's
be charged
up
for
with
that. WhatsApp.
Except in Lebanon, it's $6.
What's happening?
I know.
Very interesting. I know you're technically Gen Z, not millennial,
Yes.
but you have your finger on the pulse of the millennial community. Interesting story out this week about millennials and their views on having children versus having plants. What are we learning about this?
So, first of all, millennials are like the largest generation to not have kids. They're like the first generation, like 34 years, to have like the lowest amount of kids. They're also, I love learning about millennials. They're so funny. They don't want to have houses. They don't want to have kids.
Jobs.
They don't want to have jobs. They like avocado toast.
They hate dairy.
They don't like dairy. They're allergic to everything. Yeah. So, but because they have so many issues, it seems like relationships. They're like the loneliest generation too. Generation Z and millennials are very lonely, so they turn to pets and they turn to plants.
So
like a plant-based diet, or they have like a little plant at home that they talk? Like a fern.
Yes,
Okay.
why do they want plants?
You can talk to them, you can baby them, you can be like, you can take
that
care
with
of plants.
Yeah, you can do that with anything. I talk to the shaker.
They're expensive,
Hello,
and
how
millennials
are you?
are poor. So.
But I'm thinking about, speaking of plants, I'm thinking about going to a little more of a plant-based diet.
You should, it's healthy.
I know a lot of, that's a big thing with the millennials too.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about doing my own version of like a meatless Monday here, like have like Impossible Burgers on Monday.
Yeah,
Go
the
for some
Beyond
avocado
Meat,
toast all of a
A
sudden.
little avocado toast
can always
and
go
an
for avocado
Impossible
toast.
Burger.
Yes.
So, what about cannabis? Do you think these millennials are growing cannabis plants at home?
Who knows? They could be, but they're not as big on the whole cannabis side as much as they are with, talking to their cacti and ferns and such.
Cacti, she said. She used the proper plural on that. I like that.
Oh, yeah.
So what else is going on with If God Had a Podcast? Who can people hear this week on the podcast?
Yeah, so it's funny. I like to do, fun things around the city, and I recently did a Turkish coffee reading and like fortune telling thing, and I interviewed the guy that did that, and we talked all about that kind of stuff. So that was really interesting. And then I talked to a neuroscientist about basically irrational decision making, and we tied it into like, the whole millennial thing too. Yeah, it was fun.
Speaking of irrational decision making, we're still on air. So Newsmax has made some irrational decisions, allowing me and this guy But it's never irrational to have you on, darling.
John.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
You're doing amazing things for us. It's always some of the most compelling television we have because Frank and I are old, and you're young, and we want to always give the young people's perspective. It's fresh, it's new, it's wonderful, and it's a meatless Monday. It's a foodless Monday, actually, but Frank's here, so that's big. And we're going to take a quick break. Thank you to Pavlina Osta, the host of If God Had a Podcast. And we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back for the segment everybody always waits for. It's the WTF. What's the facts? Frank's going to fact check all my mistakes today, and we're going to make Mark Cuban so happy. Stay right there. Back after this to wrap it up.